Hi, everyone. This is John Vance, president and founder of Vance Wealth. Thank you for joining us today for an advanced perspective webinar on the Corporate Transparency Act. And while I'm not an expert there and don't pretend to be an expert, we do have a great guest today. His name is Jason Beaman. He is a partner at Poole Shaffery, a law firm here in Santa Clarita and serving most of Southern California. So Jason, welcome.
Hi, thanks so much, John. I really appreciate the invite, and happy to join you to talk about this interesting topic for business owners.
Well, and one of the things that we realize is, for our business owner clients, there's always so much compliance requirements when it comes to hiring people, firing people, dealing with all the corporate parameters that they have to, the regulations that they have to be aware of. And oftentimes when these new changes come, there's just a lot of confusion. So the goal of today is really just to provide a baseline of information around this topic so they understand what it is, because this is now we're seeing lots of emails go out, you're seeing social media posts, you're seeing articles written about this. And so the goal is just to inform them at a high level, I mean, enough to understand the basics of it and really what to do. And I think that's really the importance of today.
Yeah, great.
So without further ado, yeah, we'll jump in here. I'll let you give some disclosures and then we'll move on.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Corporate Transparency Act. Obviously, there's a lot of details involved in this, and your individual situation may change the analysis. So this is just for general purposes information, and if you need legal advice, seek a qualified business attorney.
Okay, perfect. Now we got that out of the way, we can dive into the information. So what is the Corporate Transparency Act?
So the Corporate Transparency Act was passed by Congress as part of the Anti-Money Laundering Act in 2020. It became effective this 1st of January of 2024. And basically, the Corporate Transparency Act requires all corporations, LLCs, and other entities filed with Secretary of State to report their beneficial ownership. So essentially who owns these entities, you have to report it to the federal government. So this is a new reporting requirement, like you mentioned, that there's other reporting requirements that corporations and LLCs have on the state level. This is a federal reporting requirement, and compliance, failing to comply, there's substantial civil penalties of $500 a day.
Okay, so that's why this is important, because obviously you want to be in compliance.
Right. So this is going to be it's something new, and the penalties are fairly stiff. And we don't know at this point, how aggressive the government's going to be in enforcing it, but it's on the books, and it's something that business owners have to be aware of.
Okay, fantastic.
So the Corporate Transparency Act, there's filing deadlines. So if you have a corporation or LLC or other entity that's required to report, and it was in existence before January 1st of 2024, you have until the end of this year, so January 1st, 2025, to make your beneficial ownership report. If you have a new entity that was created during this year of 2024, you have 90 days from the creation of the entity. So the date you filed your articles of incorporation or your articles of organization with the state, you're supposed to report within 90 days. And then if you have an entity going forward, if you create an entity after 2024, so in 2025, it will be 30 days from the date of entity creation that you have to complete this report.
Okay. And then I noticed down at the bottom, there are some notes around changes and updates. And so, when you think about setting up, whether it's some new entity or updating the entity, there's obviously I guess we would call it maybe the tax side of things, right? What you're providing the IRS. So this is just a new provision. And so do you have a sense of what, if you're going to have to make these changes due, 30 days after any adjustments, how to help your business owners stay compliant with that? Because we all know when you have deadlines like this, it's like, oh, I just thought I was going to make a change here and it was not going to be a big deal. So, how do you guys think you will empower that business owner to make sure they're actually complying with this on a go-forward basis?
Yeah, so we're taking the steps to actively educate our clients on what the reporting requirements are. I'm sure that business owners have a lot of things going on, a lot of things on their plate, a lot of deadlines. We often see that business owners fail to file statements of information every year, their annual reporting. So what we're doing is we're educating our clients, getting our clients the information to make the reports. And then if they want to engage us to help them, we're happy to act as kind of a general counsel, outside general counsel, and keep track of those deadlines for them, and make the reports. The beneficial ownership report, you're going to have to report changes within 30 days. So changes are only going to happen if you have some kind of ownership interest change. So if you bring on a new new shareholder, or you sell your shares off to somebody, there might be a change there that needs to be updated. Also, you're supposed to keep your address up to date, so those reports would need to be filed.
Okay.
And it's going
And
to be
obviously, yeah, the fines are pretty substantial, right? So it's gonna be important to have this on your radar.
right, right.
Okay.
So anytime you make a change, you may want to engage your business attorney and make sure that there's no reporting requirements triggered.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And so some of the things that you had shared with me is that there's some legal challenges going on right now around, is this, do we need to do this? Because I've been reading these articles that, oh, I heard this is getting challenged. Maybe I don't, and in fact, have to do this.
Yeah, so a lot of people may have heard or may not have heard, but there are 4 court cases currently pending in the federal district courts. The one that actually has a decision is a court case in Alabama, where the National Small Business United, which represents about 65,000 small businesses in the United States, filed a lawsuit. They got a court decision, and the court said that the Corporate Transparency Act is unconstitutional, as being it's exceeding congressional authority under Article 1. So that case, the decision in that case, only applies to the plaintiffs in that case, so the National Small Business United and the individual that was in there. So it doesn't apply to most people. We don't know what's going to happen in these other cases. We may get a nationwide injunction, but right now the reporting requirement is in place, and we really don't have any idea when these decisions are going to be made.
So as far as you're concerned, business owners should just proceed as normal, that this is something they need to follow. And obviously this will unfold as it will.
Right. Right now it's on the books, and all businesses are going to have to comply with it. We don't know if that may change in the future. But right now we're recommending that our clients complete the report and get in compliance before the end of the year.
Okay. Sounds good. So how do I apply for the beneficial ownership information report?
So the reports are filed through the FinCEN website. So I think you have a slide on that. So beneficial ownership information report. So you navigate to this website, the fincen.gov, and they will walk you through, or the website will walk you through how to prepare the beneficial ownership e-filing. It's fairly straightforward for businesses with 1 or 2 shareholders. Maybe it's a husband and wife. It's fairly straightforward, and the information that you have to provide is about your reporting company. So the company that's actually reporting, you have to report about who the beneficial owners are. So you need date of birth, mailing address, and a copy of a government-issued driver's license.
Okay. Yeah. And we had some of these samples here on the screen. So for those of you who are watching this, you can see the list there. And I had looked at the website. It looked fairly straightforward. It looks like where the complexity comes in is if you have multiple owners and you don't have a lot of their information. And so then just tracking that information down to be able to file that could be a challenge.
Right. Right. So if you have a simple entity, the filings should be fairly straightforward. If you have more complicated structures where there's a corporation, and you may have LLCs as shareholders, or you may have trusts or multiple shareholders, that's definitely going to be where you want to get a business lawyer involved and make sure that you're making the reports correctly.
Okay. And is that looking here online, like item number 5 is just dealing with, like, it says if you're not the sole owner, you'll need, basically this category, the owners, managers, officers, you'll need the FinCEN ID for each and to be able to do this filing.
Yeah, because the beneficial owner, so the definition of beneficial owner includes also senior officers of the company. So in a really simple corporate structure, you probably have shareholders that are also the officers. But if you get more complicated, you may have officers that don't have an actual ownership interest. Those people would need to be reported about. So yeah, it can get very complex.
Okay, that makes sense. And then I had heard there's also some exemptions. And so how do I know if I'm exempt?
Yeah, so there's a list of about 23 different exemptions. Most businesses are not going to be in these categories. So these categories are essentially highly regulated industries where the government already feels like they have enough information. So if you're a public company that's issuing securities on a public exchange, you have all kinds of reporting requirements already. There's banks, broker dealers, investment companies. So a lot of companies that already have reporting requirements. Most businesses, most small and medium-sized businesses are not, not in those industries.
Okay. So for us, like we're a registered investment advisor firm. So based on this list, looks like we're exempt under item number 10. What would be the harm? Like we might have already filled it out. Is there really any harm to fill it out? Again, it didn't take too long. So should we be wary? Like if we fill it out and then don't update it because we realize we're in an exempt industry, does that really matter?
No, I think if you're in an exempt industry, then you don't have a reporting requirement.
Okay.
If you report on your own, just for belt and suspenders, then I think it's not going to harm you. The government already has that information, so it's not going to be an issue for you.
So when in doubt, don't overanalyze it. Just do it if you're not 100% certain. But otherwise, this list is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think that's good advice.
Okay, sounds good. And then there's also some bills in California. What's happening there?
So recently, this is just in May. There's some discussion about whether or not the federal CTA is constitutional. That may or may not get decided at some point. I'm sure it will be. But California is jumping on the bandwagon and wanting California businesses or even foreign corporations, foreign entities that are required to register in California to do a very similar beneficial ownership report. So Senate Bill 1201 was passed in May of this year. It's coming before the Assembly, so the Assembly has to sign off on it before the end of the legislative session. So it's not a law yet, but it's potentially coming down the pike for California businesses.
Would that mean you would, if this does pass, you would potentially have to be registered in both places?
Yeah, potentially you would have to make 2 reports. So one of them, it's actually going to be the California report will be part of your normal statement of information filing. So you'll just add, instead of just having officers and directors reported, you also have a reporting of the beneficial owners. Okay.
Do you think that's a big deal or just a kind of an add-on to disclosure requirements that are already in place?
Well, there is some differences. The California law, I mean, as you're probably aware, statement information is publicly available information. Sorry. And can be reached by anyone, with access to the website. So anybody can go online and find out who the owners of basically every company in the United States or in California. So it's a publicly available database in California, which, has privacy concerns, I guess, for a lot of individuals potentially. The federal database is only accessible by federal law enforcement agencies and also state law enforcement agencies, but they have to get a court order to do that. So I think there's some more privacy protections on the federal database. California, usually is concerned about privacy, but apparently not on this bill.
Okay, and I know it's impossible to figure out what's going to come out of Sacramento, but do you have a guess of what's going to happen here?
It seems like, I don't have a guess. I don't know if Gavin Newsom is going to approve it. Also, he has to sign off as the governor. I'm guessing. I haven't heard much outcry from business owners. I'm not sure if anybody is paying attention, how much people are paying attention to this, but I would expect it to pass in California, given the makeup of the legislature up there.
Okay. All right. Well, again, this is another disclosure requirement happening here in the great state of California. So,
right.
Well, and as we wrap up, in terms of just call to action, if anybody wants more information from our team, we can definitely provide it. We can send you this slide deck and provide you as a resource. We certainly can connect you with Jason. But if anybody just felt like, what, I probably would like to, reach out and hire some counsel or hire counsel to help me through this process, what would that look like for you?
Yeah, so we're a law firm in Santa Clarita. We do business representation, and we're happy to handle these beneficial ownership reports for our clients. And you just contact us, reach out to me on the website. We can put my email address maybe in the slides, and we'll take care of it for you.
Perfect. And one last question, and I appreciate your insight on this today. One of the things that I have seen is quite a few accounting firms, I guess, lack of willingness to assist in this area. So maybe you could speak a little bit to kind of the expectation there and why a law firm is uniquely suited to help in this area.
Yeah, we're seeing that as well too, John. We're seeing that CPAs are kind of hesitant to make these ownership reports to the CTA, and I think it's probably comes down to their malpractice carriers not wanting to be involved in it. Lawyers are especially good at reviewing the documents and understanding who the owners are and getting the proper information from clients. So I think if you have a complex setup, a business attorney is going to be your best bet for getting this done.
Okay, awesome. Well, Jason, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. And we'll definitely have you back on when we get another interesting topic like this one. And again, thank you.
I appreciate the invite, John. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thanks.